All right.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you for coming out to Trailhead DX, and thank you for joining us at this session to talk about how you can build powerful report formulas directly in the Lightning Report Builder.
So before we get started today, here's everyone's favorite forward-looking statement. We will be talking about roadmap items today, so please based on currently working software.
So before we get started here, let's take a minute to introduce everyone. This is Anusha Sarapetti, Product Manager Extraordinaire with Lightning Reports.
And this is Daniel Heinrich, our fabulous technical writer for Lightning Reports team.
And you are our developers and admins, so thank you so much again for joining us. So like I said, we're going to talk about building powerful reports in the Lightning Report Builder, report formulas in the Lightning Report Builder. And to get started, we'd like to ask a question. Maybe we can get a quick show of hands. Has anyone ever created a custom formula field just so that they could evaluate every record in a report? Seeing a lot of hands there.
And how many of you had to export data to Excel to do more math? OK, that's a lot more of you.
I've done it before.
Yeah. Great. So we have some good news for you.
We have a new feature called row-level formulas that hopefully means you have to do that a lot less. The row-level formula will serve many of those needs.
Yeah, so and we're very excited to launch this feature. It is going to be in beta for the upcoming Summer 19 release. It's going to change how report formulas work. And of course, you voted for that. So our community has been voting for this idea for a long time. And we're really excited to deliver that to you. This is a row formula.
Good question, Anusha. The row-level formula is a new type of formula in the report builder. In some ways, it's similar to the much-loved and much-used custom summary formula. And in some ways, it's different. As the name suggests, row-level formulas apply to every row in a report. That means they evaluate every record returned by a report. But they do a few other things that custom summary formulas don't. For example, row-level formulas can reference most field types. In addition to the numeric field type, they can reference and evaluate text fields, date time fields. Because they don't require grouped data, they can be written for tabular reports.
And what about prev group val, parent group val? What are those?
Prev group val and parent group val are what we call summary functions. They work with subtotals of groups. Prev group val compares the subtotal of one group in a report to the subtotal of a previous group in the report, hence the name Prev, short for previous. Parent group val compares the subtotal of one child group to a parent group or to the report grand total. So for example, with Prev group val, you can group a report by calendar month, perhaps, and you can say, how was February different from January? With parent group val, you can say, how does February compare with the entire calendar year? So very powerful functions. Unfortunately, because they work with group subtotals, they are not supported in row-level formulas. But row-level formulas are really useful for a number of reasons. Right, Anusha?
Yeah, so let's take a look at a few real-world use cases. Let's take Maria here to the right. So Maria, let's say she's a sales manager, and she's asking how many days does it take for each opportunity to close. And each opportunity is the keyword here, right? So row-level calculations on the report, it's basically an inline formula. So users can create, end users can create their own formulas for the questions that they want to ask. So here, she can easily calculate the opportunity close from just subtracting the close date with the created date. And we'll see that in a second in a demo.
Cody the bear, a service manager, is always concerned with cases with a slow turnaround time. So he's always looking for ways that he can flag individual cases based on their turnaround time. And the row-level formula, because it evaluates every record in a case report, can help Cody and his team out by flagging slow turnaround time cases. So Can
I'm
you
going to
show
go
us?
ahead and jump right to a demo so that we can see the power of this. So I'm going to pretend like I'm Maria here. I'm like taking a look at my pipeline report. A lot of white space on the side. But so Maria's looking at her pipeline report. She has all the information, the opportunity name, when the opportunity is created and when it's closed. Now she's taking a look at these two dates, the close date and the created date, and she could make a guess like, okay, when is this closing? But what else could she do, Daniel?
Well, I know one thing Maria can do. She can go into Salesforce Setup. She can create a custom formula field, subtract close date from created date, create a custom report type, add the custom formula field to the custom report type, go back into reports, create a new report based on the custom report type, and there she is. She just has to add the custom.
Whoa, that's way too many steps. I think we're going to lose a bunch of people, especially our end users, if they have to go through that.
Is there an easier way?
Yes, of course. So now what you could do is let's edit this report, and let's add a new field here. So once I have this enabled, the row level formula feature in setup, I'll see an option to add a row level formula, beta right here. And the editor is going to look very similar to the summary formula editor in Lightning, so that you get the same look and feel. But the fields and functions exposed are going to be more than summary formulas. So here, I'm trying to look at days to close. So let's just name my formula. And I have the following output types, which is the type of the formula field. It can be a number, date, time, or text. I'm going to go ahead and do a number. And I'm going to choose 0 because I want to see days. Now, there's a few ways to insert fields in, right? So I can edit, I can just find my field here, look at close date. Or I can just do a type ahead. So I want to subtract close date with the created date to just understand the difference between those two dates. So when I do that, I get this type ahead. And I'm going to hit validate. But now I realize that I get this error. And can any of you guys guess why we get this error? So in Salesforce, right, some dates are actually date times. So you probably know, some of you guys know that as in the admins and devs, the created date is actually a date time. So we have exposed the date functions now in the report builder. So you can actually convert between dates and date times. So I know that close date's a date, created date's a date time, and I can't subtract it. So I'm going to go ahead and actually insert this date value function, which is going to convert from a date from a date time. So let's go ahead and insert this and cast it with that. So once I do this, I'm actually subtracting 2 dates. So the validate was going to work. And I can apply this formula. So now I have this new field created, days to close, on my report. I didn't have to create a custom field in setup. And I can also sort on this. So let's go ahead and sort ascending here. And let's run that. And as you can see, Maria can understand what are the deals that are closing soon without having to eyeboggle or ask her admin to add new fields.
That's really amazing, Anusha. Thank you for that great demo. Cody is really anxiously eyeing his case turnaround time and wants to know how he can create a case report that uses row-level formulas to flag his cases.
Yeah, sure. So we're here in Salesforce. Let's go back to reports. Now, let's take a look at Cody's in looking at cases. So let's take a look at this report. Now, Cody already figured out how to use a row-level formula. So we have this row-level formula called turnaround status. And we have a bunch of, angry customers and happy customers. But how did he get to that? Let's see by going to edit. So our formula is here. And we can see that Cody is actually created a text formula. And that's how he's getting that emoticon to show up. And the logic that he's using is he's using an if statement, and he's just checking if the turnaround time, if that's greater than, or if that's less than 1, my customer is going to be happy. And that's something specific to the organization he works in. So he just put that logic right in there. And if it's greater than 1, then it's an angry customer. So they need to do more hand-holding, right?
I think it'll help his team identify those customers and turn those frowns upside down.
Yes. So let's go ahead and run these. And then you can see that you can see which customers are happy and which ones are not. So I can see the customers that are happy as well. Great. So I'm going to go ahead and jump back into our slides here.
Thank you for those great demos, Anusha. Row-level formulas are currently available in Summer 19 as a beta feature. So they're out in Salesforce now. You can create row-level formulas. You can sort row-level formulas. You can export report with row-level formulas to a spreadsheet if you need to. And if you subscribe to a report with a row-level formula, the row-level formula will be included in the report subscription email. But we have some exciting things coming down the pipeline, don't we?
Yes. So for this upcoming Summer 19 release, row-level formulas are in beta. So they're still limited in some ways. But with the upcoming Winter 20 release, it's going to be generally available. So anyone can just create a row-level formula. And we're going to start rolling up the row-level formulas. So summarizing on the row-level formula. So if you have a type number, currently, you won't see that being summarized automatically. But with the Winter 20 release, we're going to allow summarization on that. And since row-level formula is just a field, right, you should be able to do other things like similar to other fields, like grouping and filtering. So we're bringing that in the Winter 20 release. And the frustration I had earlier was I didn't know the data type. I didn't know, Maria didn't know, like, OK, the created date's actually a date time. So we're going to make it a lot easier, more intuitive to work with field types in the formula editor. And we're working on that also for the Winter 20, along with packaging these row-level formulas so that you can create other applications from that.
Really excited to see that next release, and I'll be sure to read all about it in the release notes.
Yep. So Daniel, how more can we learn about row-level formulas?
Well, if you're ready to start writing row-level formulas today, the best place to go is Trailhead. We have a Trailhead project available called Evaluate Report Data with Formulas, which soon will have an entire unit dedicated to working with row-level formulas. So you can get in, write a row-level formula, verify that it works, and also to see more examples of how to use row-level formulas and to really read all about them, or help documentation is ready and available. And with that, we'd like to open the floor for questions. Yes, sir? The question was whether or not we used a formula field in a row-level formula during the demo? Very good question. In the first row-level formula, we had 2 standard fields on the opportunity object, created date and close date. We wanted to subtract one from the other. The reason we couldn't do that is because they had different data types. One of them was a date field. One of them was a date time field. So one of them basically says subtract January 1st, 2019 from January 2nd, 2019 at 12:30 p.m. The reason we couldn't subtract one from the other is because one of them is missing that time signature, the 12:30 p.m. To work around that, we used a date function, which are new and supported by well, they're not new. They've been available in Salesforce for a long time, but this is the first time that they've been available as a report formula. And we used the date value date formula to convert the date time field into a date field, which enabled us to subtract. Oh.
The turnaround time?
Oh, to generate the emoji? Good question. The question was how we generated the emoji in the case turnaround time. The emoji is it has an ASCII representation.
Yeah, I can talk more about that. It's just basically like in the Mac, you can pull out the emoticons by doing, command space bar, right? So I just pulled that and used that as a text.
Yes, sir.
I think what he was trying to ask is, can you use the output of a row summary formula in another row summary formula?
Oh, reference a row level formula with another one?
Or any other formula field, like within report.
Yes. So that's coming with the Winter 20 release because once we can summarize that row level formula, we can actually use that in a custom summary formula.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for that question. The question was whether row level formulas are stored and whether they can be reused on other reports or whether they're only available in the report for which they are written.
Yeah, so they're stored in the report. So it's similar to custom summary formulas.
Yes, sir. In the
Yeah, so there's going to be a limit. Currently with the beta release, it's 1 actually. We're trying to figure out how do we, since these are on the fly formulas, we want to increase that limit, but we're trying to figure out how do we increase that without, degrading the report runtime performance. And what was the second question, sorry? Reporting snapshots. It's a good question. You should be able to, because it's a field, right? So you should be able to select that field. Yeah.
yes, sir. Uh, the question was, can you use a row level formula to compare two fields?
Yes, because you can reference them directly, right? So you can just like say, oh, it's close date greater than created date. Did you hear that?
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question? I'm sorry, could.
Yeah, sorry about that. Maybe we can. Compare lookup fields together? Yeah, because like I said, we're supporting those set of fields. If it's a lookup is a text field, I believe, so you should be able to, yes.
Yes, sir. The question was, if you write a row level formula field in Lightning, will it be visible in Salesforce Classic?
And the answer is no.
Yes, sir. The question was whether you can filter by row level formulas, and we are aiming to release filter support in winter 20,
Right.
so next release. Yes.
Yes.
The question about the example you used, can the report
No, actually, it's only Lightning. Yeah.
business days?
What's that?
Like,
Oh, sorry. Yeah, can you see these row level formulas in Classic?
I'll,
But you cannot.
and sorry, sir, you had a question as well?
in the Cody's example, the bear wanted to know the days that have been that have passed before, between the creation and the close dates. What if I don't want it to count Saturday and Sundays?
So the question was, in Cody's example, he wants to know case turnaround time, but is it possible to measure case turnaround time but ignore Saturdays and Sundays? So a case that opens on a Friday, if you evaluate it on Monday, would have an effective day of 1 or turnaround time of 1 or
You could technically. It's a little bit more complicated formula. Like you have to create a case statement, which we are exposing.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can exclude the date. So as long as, but you need another field to reference to.
It's the same thing with working hours, right? Like office hours. I don't know what to say it properly in English. Like if my office is open from 9 to 4 p.m., it will be the same case. I have to like do it manually.
Oh, I see. Okay, so you wanted to put that logic of the like a specific range in. Now you couldn't put that range in, but so you can do the same thing what you do in formula fields. If you're able to create a formula field from it and setup, we should be able to do the same functionality here. Yeah.
The question was whether row-level formulas are available right now or whether they will be available soon. Row-level formulas are available as a beta in summer 19, and they will go. We are aiming to go generally available in winter 20. During the beta, they are available, but your Salesforce administrator must opt your Salesforce org into the beta in Salesforce setup. Thereafter, they will be available in the Lightning Report Builder for anyone who can build reports.
Yes, go ahead. I couldn't hear that, sorry. Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah, you can save them. I just ran it, but you can save that report if you wanted. Yeah, so the question is, can you, I created these formulas, can you save them? They'll be saved to the report in the context of the report, similar to custom summary formulas.
So if you need to edit a formula in a that you created last week, for example, when you edit the report in the Lightning Report Builder, you can edit the row-level formula from the column section of the outline panel.
Is it possible to create like current year-to-date versus previous year-to-date calculations? For example, I want to compare revenue for this year-to-date, like it would be Jan to say May, but the same time frame previous year.
So the question was whether it's possible to compare year-to-date revenue, for example, with last year's revenue in the same time frame from the time that the report is run, if I understand correctly. And the answer is yes. Date functions provide functions like now, which returns the current date time. By subtracting dates from one another in the correct way, the formula would be a little more advanced than what we demonstrated, but it is possible using date formulas. Next release, it may be even more when you can group and summarize row-level formulas, your ability to compare numeric data based on time frames that you define within the formula will be even better.
Yeah, once we expose the summarized row-level formulas in the custom summary formula, you can actually use parent group val and prev group val to make that comparison from the different dates.
It sounds to me like that would satisfy your requirement.
Like previous year-to-date, what I've seen in Einstein, at least what happens is that it takes previous year up till today's date, but that's not what we mean by previous year-to-date. In the last year's same time frame compared to this year. So I think what you're saying is possible.
It should be possible using date functions to be very specific with your defined date times within a function. So you can say year to day up to today, or year to day up to the beginning of this month or the end of this month, or you can expand and contract those windows as you need.
Yeah, you just have to see if you want to evaluate every record or if you just need it on an average level.
And in the example that you demonstrated, you found the date difference between 2 days. It was in the form of number of days. Can we further convert it to hours, seconds, and all that?
Yes, you can.
Yes.
They'll be exposed to that list of functions, so you can do that. You can do hours and milliseconds, up to milliseconds, I believe.
The question was whether we could count, instead of number of days, number of hours, number of seconds. And with a date value, you should be able to convert it into any of the common units of time using a date function.
It's maybe not all the types. So we are looking at kind of currently, we have text, date, time, and numbers, right? We might expand it to a few more, like pick lists and so, but it might not be the whole list that you have in formula fields, like all of the data types. What's that? Yeah, we're going to evaluate it for the winter 20 release. So hopefully we can get that in. Yep.
Thank you, everyone, for coming out to our session. We'll be standing off to the side here if anyone has any other questions or if anyone wants to say hello. Thank you again, and enjoy the rest of Trailhead DX.